Hi everyone, it's Laura Milligan, and this week on my blog and in my Facebook Lives, I've been featuring different ways to use designer series paper, and I've been specifically using the True Love designer paper, which is in our January to June mini catalog. It's black and white, and I am in love with it. It's beautiful, beautiful paper. Who doesn't love a black and white combination, right? So today I have a different card idea using that same designer series paper. Also using the blending brushes, and I think it's super cute and I'm anxious to share it with you. So let me flip my phone down. Okay, so I'm going to start with a basic white 8.5 by 11, and what I am going to do is bring in my paper trimmer, and I am going to score this at 5.5 on the long side. And as you know, our paper trimmer has this light gray scoring blade, and then the darker gray is the cutting blade. So I've gone ahead and scored it, and now I'm going to cut it at 4.25. This leaves me with two basic white thick card bases. So I can make 2 cards or just save this second piece for another time. Okay, and the other pieces that I have for this card are Rococo Rose. This is 4 by 5.25. And then I have a panel of designer paper that is 3 3/4 by 5. This is from the True Love designer series paper. Let me just bring this up here really quickly so you can see all the different patterns. So on one side, we have dots and stripes and some geometric patterns. And then when you flip it over, we have all these beautiful floral designs. Love both sides. It's hard to pick sometimes which side you want to use, but I chose a floral one for this. And then, so I'm going to start with this. I'm going to bring in a little bit of scrap paper and add some color to this designer paper with my blending brushes. I'm going to start with Rococo Rose. And I have my 3 blending brushes. They come 3 in a pack, and so I'm using one for my greens. This would be for my pinks and reds, and then this would be for like blues and colors that are close to the blues. So I'm going to start with my Rococo Rose, and after I get some ink on my brush, I just start on my scrap paper and then go in and I'm just brushing on some color where these flowers are. And it is going over the lines, but that is actually the look that I'm going for with this. If you haven't used these brushes, you have to try them. They almost look like a sponge, but they are actually little teeny tiny bristles. It's an actual brush, and they're really fun to use. And I always say, you know, when you use tools like this, it makes you feel like you're an artist. Okay, so I'm going to add some color everywhere these pink flowers are. This one here I'm going to cover up, so I'm not going to worry about that one. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to bring in my Seaside Spray. And I'm really not even worrying that some of these colors are going to be overlapping. That doesn't bother me either. I actually kind of like this look. It's just real soft. Okay. Oops. Just blending the color. Like that. Okay. And you can just keep adding more till it gets to the color that you like. Oh, here's a little spot that I missed right here at the side. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of green. For that I used Old Olive. And there's not too many leaves on this, but where there are, I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of green. Okay, and that looks pretty good. All right. Then what I've done is I found this image on another piece of the designer paper on a scrap, and I cut it out, and I'm going to add some color to this as well. Now what I'm going to do is take a Post-it note. I don't care that the colors overlap really, but for this one it's going to be kind of a focal point of the card, and so I want to cover this part up a little bit. I'm going to bring in my Rococo Rose again and just add some color, and this is I'm going to make this purposefully a little bit darker than what I did on the background. I want it to pop a little bit more. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm just going to bring the Post-it note back on this side and pick up my green. Get that colored in, and then add my Seaside Spray. All right, so there's that. I'm going to set all my inks aside, all my brushes. I'm done with those for now. And get these out of the way here. All right, then I'm just going to do a little stamping. And I am using Thinking of You. This is from a wonderful word set called Happy Thoughts. I have been using this quite a bit this week as well. It covers all different occasions, and it's also nice because there are the words that you can stamp not only on the front of the cards, but on the inside of the cards as well, and that to me is always a plus. So I'm just going to ink this up in my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, Thinking of You. This is just a little scrap of the basic white. And then I will use my Timeless Label punch. This is a great label shape, and we all love a good punch. So I'm just going to line this up, punch that out. Okay. Set all this aside, and now I'm ready to put the card together. So what I wanted to do, which I think is kind of fun, I have never done this before, and I thought this was fun. So I'm going to take now my designer paper that I have colored, and I'm going to just take my paper trimmer and line this up. And really, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. That looks pretty good. Do that way. And then I'm going to turn this. And again, you could cut this in any shape. You could cut this wherever you want. I'm doing it, I'll do it about right there. Okay. So there are my pieces. And now I'm going to put this together on my card front. So I'm going to take one of my pieces of basic white that I've already scored. So I get a nice fold. I do like to score the thick white or the thick basic white and the thick vanilla that we have. Okay, and so then these are going to fit on my layer of Rococo Rose. And I'm going to position these so that you can see where I've cut it. I want to have that pink showing through, and that looks pretty good. And what I need to just keep in mind is that I want an even border, or as close to even as I can get it. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive, and I'll position this first. That looks pretty good there. Then I'll line this one up, and again, I'm looking at the corners, and you know what I see? Let me see if I can pull this up. This is should be a little bit higher. That's one thing about our new Stampin' Seal. It's a little bit forgiving, so that when you do position something, if it's not quite where you wanted it, which is what just happened to me, you can carefully pull it off and reposition it. Yeah, I think that is positioned better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece. And again, I'm kind of looking at the corners, and that looks pretty close to the same distance. same border created. And then this one's going to go right in here, and that looks pretty good as well. So we'll go ahead and add our adhesive to this part. And again, I'm going to just kind of line it up. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so there is the piece. And then to finish this, I'm going to add my words. I'm going to take my flower, and that will fit right over this part here, and that becomes the focal point. First, what I want to do though is take some of this crinkle seam binding. This is really soft and nice and easy to work with. So I'm going to tie a bow. And then what I've been doing lately that's been really fun is, instead of pulling the loops apart like we would normally do when we do a bow, I have been folding them in the same direction, so they're sort of right beside each other. So let me pull in my scissors, my paper snips. And I'll just sort of fold this all together, the ends with the bows, and then I'll use a glue dot. I'm going to flip this over. I want a glue dot on the front, and actually I'm going to just use my fingers and pull off another glue dot so it's on both the front and the back. And I'll just tuck this right behind here like that, kind of on the corner there. Okay, and then I'll add some dimensionals. Like that. That's going to go about right there. And then I'll take this and I'll just put that right there. You know what, I need to move this over a little bit because I want this to be here. There we go. Okay, it's going to go right there. And then this I'll just pop up. Actually, this is going to attach right to that panel, the punched panel. So I'm just going to attach that this way like that. Okay. Pop this up under here. This one side is already popped up. So I'm going to go ahead and stick a little dimensional under here. And that looks pretty good like that. And let me bring in my finished card. It's positioned a little bit better. And then I just added one of the matte black dots, also in the January to June mini catalog, as a little embellishment. But there's the card. And I just think it's a fun way to use up some designer paper. It's a different way, and I hope that you will consider giving it a try. If you visit my blog, lauramilligan.com, this will be on today's post. Today is Wednesday, February 10th. So go ahead and visit my blog, and you'll get all the measurements and everything so that you can make one of these cards as well. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I would love for you to do that. Just click on the subscribe button, and then you'll know when I have shared a new video, a new project idea. I would be very grateful if you do that. So thanks so much for watching. And as always, I hope you have time to be creative today. Bye-bye.